So I say you've got to go 3 for 3, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. All must be firing in alignment. And if you look at any sales professional, or any professional for that matter, who's getting what they desire and deserve, they're going 3 for 3. They're thinking, they're visualizing, they've got their outcome and their objective, their intention. They've got their feelings there, and they've got their action, all congruent. And what I find consistently, Jeff, and that's the law of attraction right there. And what I find with sales professionals, and as I said, I begin my career training sales professionals, is that so many of them are speaking all the right words, and yet the internal dialogue is going, they're not going to do it. They're not going to take it. Oh, any minute now, I'm going to lose this. Well, guess what? Quantum physics tells us every single thing in this universe is energy. That's not new age thinking. That's physics. And energy vibrates. It has a frequency. And so consequently, I don't care if you're on Zoom or on the phone, or if you're face to face, it doesn't matter. There's a frequency. Every word has a frequency. Every thought has a frequency. Every feeling has a frequency. And frequency doesn't lie. If you've ever had a situation where someone's saying all the right words, but you just don't quite get the feeling that you should trust them. Well, what you're picking up on is the frequency of that energy that's emanating from them. And so to use this universe from a physics standpoint, and let's put it into law of attraction, you've got to look at the 3 most powerful things: thoughts, feelings, and actions. And when those are in alignment, you're congruent and you're believable, and you're going to have great influence, because the person with the greatest congruence is always going to have the greatest influence.
Got it. So you keep beating me to my questions, which I love. So
it's called mind reading, Jeff. It's called mind reading.
that was the big issue I had with The Secret, the book and the movie, and What the Bleep Do We Know, which was another movie on the same subject. That it talked about that you can have anything you want if you just think the right thoughts and feel the right feelings. And I haven't studied this like you have, but it came to me that there's something missing here, and the missing is you've got to be in massive action. I could walk outside. It stopped snowing, but if it's snowing, I can walk outside and stop snowing. It's going to stop snow. It's still going to snow until whatever's up there is ready to have it stop. And I could stand outside all day long saying $1 million is going to drop out of the sky. It hasn't happened yet. It's got to be that action, and that was the missing piece. But I do want to get to something you just mentioned, because as I said a couple of times, I've sat in seminar rooms with you many times, and you always get around to quantum mechanics or quantum physics. And I'll have to admit that sometimes in those conversations, I've gone, the fuck is James talking about? I'm just completely lost. And I'm not a stupid guy, but you really know this stuff. So that concept that everything is energy took me a while to wrap my head around. And you do a great job of explaining it. But even so, it's like a chair and I are really the same thing, just vibrating at different rates. Well, that's a tough one for me to figure out. But so because everything is energy and everything is interconnected, how can we use that as salespeople to be better at our jobs and help more people choose to do business with us? Since we're all, if everything is connected, chairs and me, then all people are connected too.
That's correct. I mean, what the modern science tells us, the single most agreed upon story of how the universe was created was a Big Bang. And even theologians now say, okay, God could have created with an explosion. God can do whatever God wants to do.
Yes, he can.
If he do I?
Yes, she can.
Yes, she can. So if she decided to create with an explosion, so what? I still can buy that. Well, and that came out of a singularity. Now think about this. Over 14 billion years ago, there was a singularity, and boom, the whole universe exploded out of this. Now, and including you, including me. Now, not the personality James Arthur Ray or the physicality that we would call Jeff Goldberg, but the essence of you was there, and me as well, and all of us. And so if we came out of that singularity, that means we're all connected because we came from the same point of energy. And that's mind-boggling too. But what quantum mechanics tells us, it's called quantum entanglement. Once two particles are entangled, they stay constantly connected across all space and time. So now coming back to people of influence, you're already connected to your client or your prospect. Now, granted, the more interactivity you have with that person, the stronger the connection. And yet there's still a connection there. You're connected. All the money you ever want to make, you're already connected to it. All the results you want to create, you're already connected to it. All the clients and the prospects you want to have, you're already connected to it. And when you can get outside of the small-minded, third-dimensional lie that we've been programmed into, our senses tell us very, very limited amounts of what's really here. We live in about a 5% universe. According to physics, 95% of what exists is vibrating. It's a frequency is too fast for us to perceive it. And so if you can get your mind around that to some degree, then you can start to recognize that, hey, as I put down and build my funnel, for instance, and my list of prospects, those prospects, I'm already connected to them at some level. And so that doesn't mean it's strong yet. And the business that I want, it's already there at some level. And way more complex than we can get into in a quick Facebook Live, because, multiple universes come into this and multiple world theory comes into this. And I think maybe you attended Quantum Leap, where I went like deep into that stuff. And we still do that event it's on Zoom now in this climate. But nonetheless, when I can start to understand that there's more than I can touch, taste, and feel or see or hear, then I can start to operate from a higher perspective and a higher awareness. Now, I know that sounds kind of airy-fairy to some degree, and I'm the least airy-fairy guy on the planet, because when I understand the laws of the universe, now I got to come from that perspective and bring it into this perspective. And that means I have to move forward based upon where I'm going versus where I am. Most people do just the opposite. They look at their book of clients and they go, "Oh man, I'm broke. I'm doomed. I don't even know how I'm gonna pay the rent next month." Well, I would say to you, I get that, and I'm not going to minimize that. And yet next month isn't here yet. So why are you projecting yourself into next month and failing and bringing it back into now? That's called anxiety. Anxiety comes from projecting yourself into the future and failing and bringing it back and feeling bad about it now. Well, it's all imagination. So if you're going to use your imagination, why not project yourself into the future and succeed massively and come back and feel confident about that now and operate and live from that perspective?